Television, the expansive medium that's been around for generations. Some love it, some hate it. But one thing we can agree on is that there is only one definition of quality television, and that it's been gone for some time. Hey, what happened to that anyway? Television, whether it's 2017 or 1945, is a window into the culture of the world it lives in. Everything that you see is the result of writers and producers who are people, just like us, and experience the world through a particular set of eyes and with an agenda. Usually, that agenda is to make what they believe is quality television. Let's think about that phrase, quality television. What is it anyway, besides completely subjective and vague? What do people think is quality? Is that even a thing?
Quality TV is a somewhat subjective term in a sense, but historically it did emerge in the 90s, particularly in relation to American TV, and it was really a term that developed by critics, really to differentiate what they thought was quality against the rest of TV.
Yes, I do think there is such a thing. I think it's been declining, so that's one observation to make. I don't think there's as much of it about as there used to be. One of the things that I'd want to think about is, for me, what constitutes quality television, and I guess in that sense I would go back to John Reith's definition of the aims and objectives of the BBC, and broadly to inform, educate and entertain. So that would be one dimension of quality television, that it takes itself seriously and it thinks ethically and responsibly about what it is that it's covering.
Looks like it's more complicated than we thought. What does the layman think?
I'm not really sure it exists as a whole. It's more about quantity, not quality. So the majority of shows that we see now are made to get money as quickly as possible and follow a trend, such as sitcoms. They've been on and off. They go on for long amounts of time, 8 seasons each piece. Whereas the real quality television that we see usually lasts 1 or 2 or 3 seasons, and I usually see that online.
It exists in the same way that anything subjective kind of exists. I think that if it keeps you glued, and not necessarily glued just in one occasion, but kind of coming back. If it turns you, the audience member, in the sense that it keeps you coming back and it captivates you and there's replayability, then I think that you can call it quality television.
One has to wonder what quality television looks like then. Is it what's on TV screens as it's been for generations, or has it moved to the online landscape? With the continuing rise of streaming sites like Netflix and Hulu, more and more people are abandoning their living rooms for their computer desks or portable devices. Then again, you can stream online on your TV too, which you could say adds insult to injury.
It's part of a bigger media ecology, part of a convergent media, so the nature of television per se has shifted, and it's a much more digital form, it's available in different formats, so the problem becomes, what is television? I think what that's allowed for is different forms of new consumers who don't necessarily watch television in its old-fashioned sense, and this new forms of distribution and consumption is seen more akin to other forms of media that's not essentially TV.
I'll definitely watch more TV online. The only time I'll make an exception is for live sporting events.
How often I watch television online, that would depend on practically every day, if you can YouTube, which you should, so yeah.
The traditional set TV is kind of not antiquated, but it's definitely on its way to being antiquated, which is just the natural order of things. So more online, because I'm a filthy millennial.
There's a show which I really liked in the past called Misfits, which was on E4. The first few seasons I rewatched them. They still hold up, but the last few,
they're not really that great.
Yeah.
I'm slowly fading away from like Friends, just because I'm only recently realizing how white that show is.
So that's what happened to quality television. Nothing. It's not gone. It's still there. You're just a more quality person. All the most iconic old programs, The Simpsons, Friends, Seinfeld, they're all problematic and have uncomfortable jokes that were the product of their time. There are people who still like them, sure, but none can deny that the racism, homophobia, transphobia, and other bigotries present aren't welcome in modern entertainment and shouldn't have been in the past either. We've just become less tolerant of it, and our media reflects that. Quality TV never left. It just grew up like we did. Our individual tastes will always change, and TV can only continue to change with us. And now our last question. What's your favorite show?
I don't know. Favourite? Well, it depends, you know, what I'm watching. I've written about. I loved The Wire, actually.
There's a really nice show on BBC4 called The Detectorists. But I'm not sure. I mean, I love it, and but I just think it speaks to a rather narrow audience of middle-aged men.
My favourite show used to be Gossip Girl.
I think the one thing which comes to mind now is probably going to be Gogglebox, but I don't really like it. I just enjoy watching it.
Sports ball and sports ball.
It's heterosexual. Thank you.
My-
I'll see you.